Hello, here we are. This is interview number 7. I have Tom Stein and Charles Wood with me here. These are the presenters of the Artist Podcast, which I guested on myself a couple of weeks ago. Hello, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
Would you like to take turns in introducing yourselves and tell us a little bit more about what it is you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Tom, and I'm Tom Stein, and I've basically a recent graduate of the master's degree course at Teesside University. Lately, my practice has moved towards more of a graphic design sort of role. But lately, I messaged Charlie one day and I said we should start to do a podcast and host a podcast where we talk to artists in our local area. And hopefully, as we progress along, we can move it on to even more people on a wider scope. And he just said yeah, and then we started cracking on with it, didn't we, Charlie?
Pretty much, yeah. After you've been asking me for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. It took a while to get it going, but it's going well now, isn't it? So.
And Charlie, you come from more of a fine art background, don't you? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I studied fine art. I'm currently on a fine art master's course at Teesside also, and I predominantly work mostly on digital media sort of art, name posting and art type sort of stuff, and that drove me and Gemma Teeny to making Wet Productions, which is like a collaborative art collective type thing, which I suppose is where we got to start from doing stuff like on social media and stuff like that, which is where I think Tom asked me to help out with the podcast.
I just think we have good chemistry. I thought we get along, don't we? So,
Well, I mean, I've been following the podcast and I really enjoy listening to it. I think is a good double act on there. Yeah, I guess Charlie's the straight guy, and
I was going to say, Tom speaks and I just sit there quietly and say something.
Charlie's the face of the podcast, which is only audio.
So you both, I mean, you're from a design background, Tom, and you mentioned, Charlie, that your practice revolves a lot around that kind of design too.
Yeah.
So what was it that inspired you to kind of start the Artist Podcast, which, you know, your guests so far are very much rooted in the kind of fine arts?
I think the reason why I wanted to start it is because I just got it really into the sort of genre of podcast as a whole. So like when obviously I've been listening to other people's, I thought like this is an amazing sort of outlet where you can just come on and talk, and as long as you talk about some sort of constructive topic, you can make a sort of like an outlet from it. So I got really, really into the genre and just decided we might as well just make one ourselves, and that's why I wanted to get into it. I don't know why Charlie wanted to get into it.
I don't know. It's just something creative. We weren't really doing anything at the time, and there wasn't a lot of other avenues to be creative in that time. So the podcast seemed like a good idea because it was an excuse to talk to people that we haven't spoke to for a while.
We got a bit stir crazy at the start as well. There's cabin fever, not being able to talk to anyone. So yeah.
So do you see the podcast carrying on post lockdown? Is this something you want to kind of keep up and running for a while? And if so, have you got any ideas for future guests, people you'd really like to get on there?
Yeah, I believe we should be able to make a lot more when the lockdown's over, because we'll be able to do them in person. So like we could visit someone in their gallery and see if they want to do one after a show's ended or something like that. And just when there's like a lot more chance for us to meet certain people, we'll be able to like send out more propositions and ask more people who we sort of meet. So if we go to a gallery and we like someone's art that's there, and then we think, oh yeah, well maybe this will be an interesting person to talk to, then we can obviously approach them and ask. So we should get a lot more opportunity to basically grow the podcast when lockdown's over.
Be able to do like a little mini docs and stuff like that.
Charlie, I know you're. I know, Charlie, you're a man with your finger in a lot of pies creatively. Like you mentioned, Wet Productions. How do you, well, to both of you really, how do you reconcile your kind of individual practices with this new project? Did you find it easy to kind of put it down and go back to your normal practice? And you know, do you see yourselves kind of, you know, continuing your individual practices, or is it the Artist Podcast now?
Well, I'd say personally that the Artist Podcast is like, we can just do it. Like, it's not something that takes up a big chunk of the day. We just sort of schedule it to be recorded one day and then edited the next day and then posted the day after. As long as we stick to some sort of like routine and like when it's released every week, it doesn't matter if we take a break off for a couple of weeks and come back, because people won't realise it's still going to be up. There's still like, there's a small body of episodes now where people can revisit old ones if they wanted to listen to one. And then, so yeah, it's just something we can do as well as our practice. But like the Artist Podcast will come second fiddle to like my main work, but it's something I'm definitely passionate about.
Well, the Artist Podcast sits well with like Wet and stuff like that, because it just sort of all like online production of art and stuff like that all sits well together anyway. Because like having like, say like if we do like a zine, we could do a doc, we could do a podcast, we could like feature all different types of like an artist or something like that. Or if we were doing a show, we could do a podcast with the artist we were doing the show with, or you know, et cetera type of thing. So it sort of just all melds together. But it's good that the podcast can just be so fluid. You can do whatever.
What are you guys' opinions on the art scene in Teesside? I mean, we're here now interviewing for a film that's been made about it. You guys are running a podcast looking at it. You know, what's your take on it? How healthy do you think the art scene in Teesside is right now?
It's booming. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's definitely on the rise. But when we had Gordon Dalton on last week, he was talking about how everyone's bringing each other up in the community at the moment, and everyone's working well together to make sure the best work's made where we are. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. I hope it can keep on rising and not like plateau at some point when we exhaust our local talent. I hope we can just keep going, and hopefully it'll just continue growing.
So moving on, tell me about any projects you have coming up once we get back to normal and we can start kind of, you know, putting on our shows and kind of socializing again. What have you got in the pipeline? What should we look forward to?
That'll be you, that Charlie. I just want to drink some cans when it's over.
I have a couple of digital shows in the works with Connor from Dovetail Joints that we're sort of collaborating on to create like online shows with him. We've got some stuff happening at the Auxiliary. We're getting a studio thing there. Hopefully going to do some shows in there soon. Apart from that, hopefully our website will come out soon. Hopefully we'll start the zine soon. But this is stuff that we were originally going to do before lockdown. Obviously, lockdown hit and it just sort of stagnated everything. But hopefully, a lot of things will be next year. So hopefully, good things will be in the new year. Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to see what you're working on, and I think the collaboration with Dovetail Joints is going to be really interesting. Just to round things off now. You know, reflecting on lockdown as it's kind of coming to an end, what impact do you think it had on you guys as creatives? You know, was it beneficial? You know, how did you find it?
Well, I thought that before lockdown happened, I was working in like the part-time job I had that I'm not really that passionate about, and that my sort of creative outlet was stagnating a bit. But as soon as lockdowns came and I'm allowed to have this free time, I think everyone should be allowed a certain amount of leisure time to sort of pursue something that fulfills what they need to do to feel like their practice is worth it, if you know what I mean. I got a lot more productive when lockdown started. It's sort of, that's when I started doing things again. But I think it's because it sort of felt like a breather from the real world, where I feel like working part-time jobs and all that sort of stuff sort of sometimes like sucks the soul out of you. When you're given time to sit, like pursue stuff that makes you fulfilled, I feel like you become a lot more productive in what you're doing.
And how about you, Charlie?
I think I had the opposite effect on me, to be honest with you. I feel like when I obviously because I do my masters and stuff like that, which is constantly trying to be creative, and then I've got Wet and stuff like that, and trying to organize shows and stuff like that. I feel like lockdown gave me a month to just like step back from it all and just turn off for like a month or more. But then obviously the creative side, I was pulled back in and started doing the podcast and stuff like that, and organizing digital shows again. So I don't know, I'm constantly at odds with my creative side, I suppose.
Well, it's been lovely talking to you both, guys. And yeah, for anybody watching this, check out the Artist Podcast. It's really cool. And thank you very much for coming and chatting with me.
It's absolutely no bother, mate. Thank you very
Right.
much.
See you soon.
See you soon.